Okay, so this is the most confusing assignment of the semester. So my goal today in this video is to explain to you the technical report and to show you a student example and hopefully clarify your purpose in this assignment. It's a big one, it's worth 100 points, so please email me if you have any questions. So the first thing you have to understand is the purpose of the technical report, and you may have understood that through the worksheet, but I'm just going to clarify for a minute. So the technical report, you're an intern for a company, whether that's Carefree, Juno, Kumbera, or Ahora, right? You are an intern, and your boss has come to you and said, BYU University, their wellness center wants a study done on the impact of screen time and students, right? So we want to conduct a survey and come to some sort of recommendation about what the university can do to help students' mental well-being and through the impact of screen time. So that's the task you've been given. You're the intern for the company that's been tasked with this job. So that's why you read some background material last week on what screen time does and how it impacts young adults and teens and their well-being. And now you are going to use the data from the survey you filled out to make a recommendation to the university. So that's ultimately your goal. When you finish the technical report, it's going to look like this. The template is a little bit different this semester. This is a student from last semester, but this is what it's going to look like. It's an actual report that you would give to the university, right? To the Scribbit University, or I think it's been changed this semester to BYU Idaho University. It's done in APA formatting. So that's part of the test of this assignment is APA formatting. So that's this running head up here. The great thing is that there are templates that you can use. Oh, that one just disappeared. Let me pull that back up, hang on. So these are the templates for this semester, and I'm gonna email these out to you, and I would recommend that you use this template instead of the one in the lesson. They emailed these to us last week and said that they didn't have time to put these in the course, but they're much easier to use than the ones in the course, so I'm going to email that out to you. Make sure not to keep these brackets. A lot of students will keep these brackets, but if you look at the student example, the brackets aren't there at all. So the report has a couple sections in it. It has an introduction, right? Here's the description of the introduction section. The methods, right? The methods summarizes the data that was collected in the survey, the results of the survey, and I'll show you how to find that. The most important part, the discussion, where you interpret some of the data and make some conclusions and add graphics, and then the conclusion, which includes your recommendation to the university, and then your APA reference page. So look at our example student here. The introduction should be about a page, 4 to 5 paragraphs. It introduces the topic of screen time and the impact on young people. It has parenthetical APA citations where you reference the background material that you read last week. So that's really important that you incorporate the background material into your introduction into the topic on screen time and wellness. And in the course, it walks you through that. So let me skip ahead. This is week 8. I'll come back to the data tables in just a second and show you that page. But here, when you get to writing the introduction, here are the answers or the questions you're going to answer in the introduction. So you're going to give us a broad understanding of the research that's already out there about screen time and teens, and then move into the client's question. So if this is what we know about screen time and teens and what's been done before, then move towards what is specific to our particular campus and the students there. So if you look at the students right here, if you kind of read through, obviously she references some of the background reading from last week and then talked about the research that they're doing for the university. So they set up the issue. It's think of it kind of like an introduction to an essay, but you're drawing upon what's already been done. The methods section and the results section rely solely on the data tables. So if in week 8, this is the first page that you'll look at, you'll have access to the data tables. So the data tables are right here. The first download here is the survey. So you can see, it's right, let me pull this one up. it's the survey that was given to the students and the one that you filled out. So you can see what it looks like blank, so you can make reference to it. The second file is the methodology and the questions and the delivery. All that information is important to put into your report. And then the final link, hang on just a minute, let me get rid of that. The final, every page wants to pop up. There we go. The final link right here, and every student asks me, students get confused, but this link right here, the outside link, takes you to the results of the survey for this semester. So you click on it and it's going to take you to an Excel sheet, and that Excel sheet has all of the responses from all the FD English 301 students to the survey. So that is the data you are using. 936 students took it, right? Here's how they responded to each of the questions. That is the data you're using for your report. So that gets kind of confusing, but it's right here. So this week you're writing most of the report, right? So you're going to write the methods section. You find that information on those handouts I showed you before. So just the methods, right? You don't write the results yet because you're not writing the results section until you get to that part. You're just describing the introduction to the issue and the methods, right? So if we go back to our students' example, let me find hers really quick. That's our template. Hang on just a second. Here we go. So if we go back to the methods section here, you can see it just describes how the survey was scored, what kind of questions it asked, how it was delivered, right? That's the information you get from the two handouts here, right? Back on this page, not on this page, but on the one before it. And then the results is where you talk about the data and you make graphs, and the lesson will show you how to do that, right? So at the beginning of the week, oh goodness, so many windows, I'm so sorry. There we go. So in your first half of the week, you're writing the introduction and the methods, right? And then you'll make the graphics. The chapter 10 in the text shows you how to do that. So ultimately, your goal is to put together this report, right? So she had her graphics, right? She had her discussion section, her conclusion, which included the references, and then an APA formatted reference page that referenced the background articles that were used here in the introduction. So it's kind of confusing. Take it a step at a time. Come back to this video as you do it. But let me just review one more time. Your goal is to create probably like a 7 to 9 page report that answers the research question, how can the university help student wellness that's being impacted by screen time, right? Your introduction relies on the background reading from last week, and it introduces us to the topic of the impact of screen time on teens, and then narrows down to the actual purpose of this report and the question of the university. The methods section talks about how the survey was delivered, what types of questions were answered. The results section discusses the results using graphics and descriptions of the graphics. The discussion section is the interpretation of the results and what the data means to you. And the conclusion section is the recommendation you're making to the university, followed by a reference list. The most important page for you starting this week, there are two, right? This page here that describes how to write the introduction and how to write the methods, and the page previous, which includes the link to the survey results, the description of the survey, and the example of the survey. I really recommend watching this video next, just because it will really help you as you put together your data. Hopefully that helps clarify. I know it's kind of a confusing assignment. Please email me questions as you have them. Thanks.